Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, welcome on back. Of course, we're here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are tuning into the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the page. So welcome, welcome. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the comments where you may be tuning in from today. For those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment, I do reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, where it is unbelievably hot. I feel like this is like the hottest summer ever. It probably isn't, but it feels like it. Feels like it's record-breaking temperatures. I'm ready for it to like cool down just a little bit. But nonetheless, I do live in sunny Florida, but I do love my sunshine. So, but let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. Excuse me, in the comments here. And if you are new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So let me go through a couple of quick announcements first before I start. Let me make sure I get the date right. Okay. Yes. All right. So a couple quick announcements before I start today's mental health moment. One is thank you to everyone of you who may have attended. I'm not quite sure who was there actually, because there was a lot of people there virtually. But for those of you who did attend virtually, the leadership experience tour that I was at this past weekend in Michigan. Well, yeah, virtually. I didn't see any of you all in person, but I think some of you were there virtually. Thanks so much for attending. Hope you love the show. I was honored to be there along with some just incredible people. I met the most incredible people and speakers talking about different areas of personal development. And for myself, of course, I was talking about my mental reset framework. So I was honored to be there. And thanks again for your support. The next event that is open to the public that I can invite you all to is it's called the Mind Masters Workshop. That is on Saturday, August 29th. It is in person in Tampa, Florida. And that is hosted. Let me see if I have the link for you all. I should have gotten the link before. Okay, I'm gonna grab the link for you all actually really quick. But it's the Vincent Jackson Family Foundation is hosting it. It is a free event. It's actually for middle schoolers and the parents of middle schoolers, but oh, why is my computer going so slowly? I wanted to grab the link and put it in the chat for you all. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me grab it. But I will be speaking to the parents that day, and then there'll be programming. It's a half day event. There'll be programming also for, I'm going to put it in the chat for you all. There'll be programming also for the middle schoolers. So if you have an upcoming 6th, 7th, or 8th grader, again, in Tampa Bay area of Florida, it is a free workshop. It's a half day, and I'll be speaking to the parents that day. And then there'll be other programming for the actual students. Let me put this in the chat here. Okay, so it's in the chat. And once again, I do apologize to my LinkedIners. I do not know why I cannot post you all. It's only on Facebook and YouTube. It's vjfamilyfoundation.org/mind-masters. So vjfamilyfoundation.org/mind-masters. That is a website to register for that one. And again, it is a free event and it'll be Saturday, August 29th. So that's the next upcoming event that I'll be at. Would love to see you there if you fall into some of those categories. My second and last, I think, yes, last announcement for today is just a reminder if you haven't joined already, that I do have a new free mental reset community. You can go to take your go this way. Takeyourmentalreset.com. It's on the screen. Takeyourmentalreset.com. Join the community. As I mentioned, it's completely free. Everything that I've been talking about for literally a decade, y'all, which is crazy. A mental health moment, a lot of that, the mental resets, the checking in with ourselves, the practical tools that we can use to better our mental health and wellness in hopefully formats that take shorter amounts of time because I know we're all busy. It's all in there. So again, takeyourmentalreset.com. Would love to see you in there. It's a brand new community, but we are growing, and I would be super excited and honored if you would join. So takeyourmentalreset.com is the link. You'll see it right at the top of the page to join the community. Okay, I think those are all my announcements. But let me know where you're tuning in from today in the chat. Hopefully, my comments will come in at some point because I never know what's going on over here in technology land. I don't see your comments yet, but again, just still put it in the comments, and hopefully, sometimes it pops up a little bit later. But let me know where you're tuning in from today. So, on today's mental health moment, gosh, there's a lot happening, you all. So we are, for those of you who have kids or grandkids or nieces and nephews, we are heading into back to school season. I know for our county here in Tampa Bay, the public schools started yesterday. And then for many of you that, again, that have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, sometime in August, maybe September, depending on where you live in the world, school starts back, right? This can even not just this month or next month, but throughout the rest of the year tends to be some really crazy, busy, hectic times because we have, if you celebrate any holidays, that's coming up soon. It just I feel like it flies by. I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but I feel like it flies by, but it's also very busy and can be hectic, especially if we focus on our stress. So today, I want to remind you, not just during this time of year, but at any time of year, to what I call stop borrowing stress from tomorrow. Cleveland, Ohio's in the house. Welcome. Indianapolis is here. Welcome, welcome. Nevada's in the house. Welcome. Oh my gosh, Nevada just made me think of I forgot what city it was. I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes outside of Vegas. It was so beautiful, and I forgot the city. Well, anyhow, it was like the most beautiful place in Nevada, and like the mountains were so pretty. I think it was Red Mountains or something like that was out there. Just such a gorgeous place. So you reminded me of that when you typed in where you're tuning in from. But nonetheless, so today's topic on mental health moment again is about practicing to not what I call borrow stress from the future, right? Because a lot of times unintentionally we stress ourselves out from things that have not even happened yet and will never ever happen. That's literally part definition of anxiety, of just worrying about things that have a very low chance of even happening. Some things, yes, we worry about, and there's a likelihood of it happening, but we also worry about things that have a very extremely low chance of even happening. So hi from San Diego, welcome, welcome. Um, so again, I want to share with you some tips today on how we can try to navigate through that. Uh, so first of all, so I want you, well, first in the chat, just if you think about all the things you're worrying about right now, like where for you, and this is not a right or wrong answer, it's just for you to start to assess for you where you're at mentally, right? So where is it for you that you feel you worry the most right now today in your life? Is it family issues? Is it work related? Is it money related? Are you worried about the future? Are you worried about your retirement? Maybe it's a new job, maybe a school. Like what area for you? And just, you can just type in the chat now that I can actually see the comments. But just type in the chat which one it is for you. Okay. And again, this is not, if you're new to mental health moment, this is a safe space. Like we're not into like judgment. This is the no judgment zone, I should say. We're not into really the self-blame game, but we are into the self-awareness game. Right. So we talk extensively on mental health moment about checking in with yourself. So that's my ask of you today. So again, just put it in the comments. You don't have to put your whole life story, but just, which category for you would you say like, man, this is really an area that I feel like I'm worrying about right now. And again, it could be work, it could be family, it could be money, it could be the future, it could be your friends, it could be your health, like where, right? Like where are you, someone said all the above, someone said work related. And again, the reason why this is important is because sometimes it's like we kind of skip some steps in the personal development of our lives. So we it's like we go from like, let's solve a problem, but it's like, wait, what is the problem? Like, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? Someone said business related worries. So there's a range of things in here, right? And again, not a right or wrong answer, but just knowing for you where you're at. So the first question though I want you to really think about is so you all answered like different areas, right? Which makes sense. We all have different lives, different things going on. But when you do worry, I want you to also kind of ask yourself, is this something that is like how realistic, whatever it is that you're worrying about, how realistic is it that this particular situation is going to happen? Like, really check in with yourself on that because sometimes, like I said, of course, we worry about realistic things, but sometimes we get into a lot of what ifs. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? And many of those what ifs, like I mentioned, if they have like a 99% chance of not happening, yes, maybe it's a 1% chance, but those are the things if we think about, okay, maybe I need to let that worry go. Like maybe I need to be in the practice of whatever works for you, if it's being in stillness, or if you believe in prayer, or if you need to see a mental health professional, or whatever it is it looks like to work on letting go of that worry of a lot of things that are highly unlikely to even happen. So again, you know, asking yourself, am I really is this is this situation likely or am I just caught up in the what ifs? Because sometimes, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you. I think for many of us it has, but sometimes we get so caught up in the what ifs. We like mentally, we're literally down some rabbit hole of like you can start to spiral. So you get into this rabbit hole of like, what if this happened? And then if this happened, then this would happen. And if this happened, this would happen. And it can take you to some really dark places and difficult places, sometimes mentally. And then or you start worrying about things that happened like 10, 20, 30 years ago. Right. Like either way, it's sometimes or a lot of times with anxiety, it really takes us out of the present moment, right? Because we somehow like time travel to like the future. I mean, unless you're a psychic, I don't know. But we somehow time travel to the future and we're like, we're worried about things that are gonna happen like 2 years from now. And it's like we don't we probably don't really know what's gonna be happening then, right? Or you've worried about something that happened so long ago, and need to work on for you how to let go. Maybe you need to forgive yourself, maybe you need to forgive someone else, maybe, you need something for you to help you get through that particular situation, which is okay. Uh, but again, it starts with self-awareness, right? That's why I asked you to check in. And I appreciate you all sharing in the comments too, like where, maybe where your worries are today. Um, the second thing is my second tip for you today is, and if you're just tuning in, by the way, hi, Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today, we're talking about how to stop sort of like borrowing stress from the future, right? So or maybe even the past. So again, it's very easy to get caught up in worrying about things that are going to happen that will never ever happen or huge likelihood of it not happening or worrying about things that happened a gazillion years ago. Right? So, and I'm not saying this is easy. It can be hard, especially whatever the situation is. There's just situations that are difficult and take time to heal from, but it's a part of allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to get into that healing state if that's what you need. Hey, someone said, "Wow, good evening everyone. Good evening to you. Welcome." Um so the second tip I want to share with you today is that I want you to like sometimes you worry about certain things. You might have to prepare for different situations, whatever that is, right? So yes, prepare for certain things that can sometimes relieve your anxiety, but also um, do your best to not start rehearsing all the possible things that can go wrong in that situation because sometimes we do that as well. So yes, there may be something, whether it's work related. Some of you said, some of you said all of the above, which is all good, or work related. Someone said business related worries. Someone said, all the above, family, money, maybe it's friends, health, like many different things that are taking up your mental space, if you will. But also, when you think about solutions, right? Hopefully, we're all thinking about solutions And it's not to say there's something called toxic positivity. I am not saying to be like, "Oh, everything will be fine," right? And not take precautions and not plan out your life in certain areas. But what I am saying is to be very careful of whatever situation that you're dealing with that's upcoming, to get into a mental pattern where you're constantly thinking about what is the worst scenario all day, every day. Um, Sometimes this is something you can do when you recognize the patterns of your thinking. Sometimes you can work on changing that on your own. It is not easy, but it is possible and doable. Sometimes if you've already tried this at home and you're like, "Man, I keep going to a negative place. I'm trying to work on my, negative self-talk, if you will. I'm trying to do better, but it's just too hard and I can't do by myself." That's okay. Then maybe you need to reach out to a mental health professional or someone that can help you. It could sometimes, depending what it is, it could be a family member or friend, or sometimes it has to be a mental health professional. But nonetheless, again, self-awareness is key. And then thinking about, okay, how do I get through this situation without allowing it to spiral down? And thanks for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat here. Now that I think sporadically my comments are starting to come in, I never know what it's going to do. I see some of your comments here and there, like sprinkling in. But if you haven't already, let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat here. And the other thing is, which is also which is also a difficult thing to do, but it is something to add to your toolkit. I'm sorry that everything I share on mental health moment just can't be magically easy sometimes, but it takes practice, right? Everything takes practice. So the other thing to think about, we're talking today, if you're just tuning in, about how do you work on not overly worrying about things in the future, right? Because there's some things that we just don't have control over anyway. Um, so the third tip I want to leave you with today is to sort of work on bringing your attention back to the present moment. And it does take practice, but we've shared a lot of ways on mental health moment throughout the years. If, by the way, if you ever miss a mental health moment live, you can always go to my YouTube page, Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, and watch all the replays. They're all on there. But we've shared a lot over the years of different mindfulness things to do for mindfulness, right? Like getting into the present moment. And that is one way you can work on like bringing your attention back to today. All right. So when you're like, man, you're thinking about maybe you have certain goals. It's great. It's amazing to have goals. But if you set a goal for 2, 3 years from now and you're worrying every day about something that's going to happen in 3 years that may or may not happen, right? Or things happen. A lot can happen in 3 years, right? Like that doesn't serve you any good to be in that place of worry. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? And then, like I mentioned earlier, like rehearsing the negative scenarios of it. That is not helpful for your mental health at all. Um, but what you can do in that moment when you again start to think about the thing that may or might not even happen in 3 years is try to direct yourself back to the present moment. And you can do that through a lot of different ways. So we've shared a ton of mindfulness techniques to get back in the present moment, deep breathing, taking a minute, maybe you need to sit down and have a cup of tea, like, whatever those things are. But then you ask yourself, like, what really truly deserves my attention today? Right? Like get to a point where you really start to ask yourself that question. What deserves my attention today? Right? Like because otherwise, have you guys, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term urgency culture, right? That's a whole nother mental health moment. I think we've talked about that before, a mental health moment. But that's like this idea that every single thing is urgent, which every single thing can't be urgent because we can't answer a million people a day, right? Like everything is not really urgent, but that's sort of what has happened over time. Unfortunately, there's pros and cons of us having so much access to each other. So we have, the text message and the email, then the FaceTime, and we're on social media. Like there's just so many ways to connect, which is great. But then for some of you, you're inundated by a lot of different demands around you. Maybe you have a large family, maybe you have a ton of coworkers, maybe you have a ton of friends, like whoever it is, like people needing stuff, right? However, you have to set your boundaries, which is a whole nother mental health moment. We've talked about that extensively, I feel like. boundaries. You have to set your boundaries. And also, again, as I'm sharing this last tip, is to really think about how do I focus on what deserves my attention today, right? Not like 6 months from now, like today. And just getting back into that mindset here. Virginia's back in the house. Welcome. Whittier, California. Ooh, I haven't heard of that city. Well, welcome. Charlotte, North Carolina, welcome. Let's see. North Carolina's in the house as well. Another North Carolina's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Today we have been talking about, in case you're just tuning in, but it's all good. You can always watch the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube. But today we've been talking about how to work on the practice of, I should say, stop borrowing stress from the future, right? So the things that we stress about that we don't need to be stressing about. Now, of course, there are legitimate things that do need our attention. Of course, there's family emergencies, there's maybe something going on with you personally. There's legitimate things, of course, that is normal to worry about and need your attention. But I'm talking about the things that are very unlikely to happen or something so far out into the future that we're worrying about that we really don't need to be worrying about. Right. So, whatever that is for you, then I really want you to think about today, okay, how can I be in the practice of starting to let some of that go? Which, like I said, sometimes you can do a lot of what I share in my mental health moment. For some of you, you can do it on your own, right? These are all self-help tips, right? For some of you, depending on, whatever, like your life story. For some of you, you may be like, you know what? No, it's hard to do this alone and take these steps. So I need to reach out to a mental health professional. For some of you, it's like, I need the help of a community, or I need the help of a friend or family member or person at a place of worship, or whomever it is who's in your support system, right? Like, not all of those ways are very valid. So I do want to, remind you all of that. Like, we're all at different places at our mental health and wellness journey. The biggest thing I hope for you, which is why I'm here every week on Mental Health Moment, though, is that you take the time to check in with yourself and have that self-awareness of what it is that you really need, because it changes depending on what stage we're at in our lives. Hi from Florida. Welcome. We got a fellow Floridian here. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment and you came in a little bit later, I do reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, which is ridiculously hot right now and humid. But nonetheless, but I am, well, I don't want to brag a little bit, but I'm very, very excited to be in Florida, especially when it is snowing in other parts of the country. Then I get really excited. Right now, the summers are a little brutal, but I don't love the snow. I like to visit the snow and then kind of wave goodbye. Some of you all know my little crazy cold weather stories, because me and cold weather, yeah, we're meant to just visit each other and like wave goodbye. But it's all good. But welcome, welcome from Florida. Thanks so much for joining here. As I wrap up today's mental health moment, first of all, give yourself a round of applause. Seriously, but make sure that you are honoring yourself and celebrating yourself, because any of these tips today that you heard that you're like, you know what, yep, I'm going to start implementing that in my life, like, celebrate that, right? So please always celebrate the baby steps too. We always think, I literally just did a whole speech about this, but we always think we have to take these big giant leaps to change our lives, which sometimes, yes, we do. We can take leaps and those change our lives, but I promise you that a lot of times too, it's the smallest, like, it's the baby steps. It's just starting. Like, I want to change my life. Okay, let's start. Right. And it's the baby steps sometimes too that we have to make sure we're celebrating. Progress is progress. Even if you're like, man, I look back on the last 6 months, Dr. Hammond, and I wasn't as far as I thought I would be, but did you make some type of progress, right? Like, that counts too. Um, and practicing not to be in a self-blame place, because that also is not good for your mental health anyhow. But as I wrap up today's mental health moment, again, I just want to remind you all, especially if you came in late, that I do have a new mental reset community. It is completely free. You can sign up at takeyourmentalreset.com. It's right, hold on, here on the screen right here. Takeyourmentalreset.com. I would love to have you there. It's a brand new community, and I'm just super excited to be there with you all, because we will I would say practice what we preach right here on Mental Health Moment, and just making sure that we're taking our minutes. And for some of you who are not new to Mental Health Moment, you know what I mean. If not, you could join the community, but it is a place to reset, get the practical tips that you need, and start to implement that with a group of like-minded, kind and supportive people. So I would love to see you there. And what else do I have to tell you all? Yeah, I gave some more announcements at the beginning, but you can always watch a replay. As I mentioned on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, and I will see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed to have an amazing week. Practice everything that you learned today for sure, so you can have less anxiety in your life. Be blessed, and I'll see you all next week. So, bye, you guys.